The books of Zechariah and Malachi, from the Young's Literal Translation of the Bible. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Mark Penfold. The books of Zechariah and Malachi, from the Young's Literal Translation. The book of Zechariah. Chapter 1. In the 8th month, in the 2nd year of Darius, hath a word of Jehovah been unto Zechariah, son of Berechiah, son of Iddo the prophet, saying, Jehovah was wroth against your fathers, wrath! And thou hast said unto them, Thus said Jehovah of hosts, Turn back unto me, an affirmation of Jehovah of hosts, and I turn back unto you, said Jehovah of hosts. Ye shall not be as your fathers, to whom the former prophets called, saying, Thus said Jehovah of hosts, Turn back, I pray you, from your evil ways, and from your evil doings. And they did not hearken, nor attend to me. An affirmation of Jehovah. Your fathers, where are they? And the prophets, to the age do they live? Only my words and my statutes, that I commanded my servants the prophets, have they not overtaken your fathers. And they turn back and say, As Jehovah of hosts designed to do to us, according to our ways, and according to our doings, so he hath done to us? On the 24th day of the 11th month, it is the month of Sebat, in the 2nd year of Darius, hath a word of Jehovah been unto Zechariah, son of Berechiah, son of Iddo the prophet, saying, I have seen by night, and lo, one riding on a red horse, and he is standing between the myrtles that are in the shade, and behind him are horses, red, bay, and white. And I say, What are these, my lord? And the messenger who is speaking with me saith unto me, I do shew thee what these are. And the one who is standing between the myrtles doth answer and say, These are they whom Jehovah hath sent to walk up and down in the land. And they answer the messenger of Jehovah, who is standing between the myrtles, and say, We have walked up and down in the land, and lo, all the land is sitting still, and at rest. And the messenger of Jehovah answereth and saith, Jehovah of hosts, till when dost thou not pity Jerusalem, and the cities of Judah, that thou hast abhorred these 70 years? And Jehovah answereth the messenger, who is speaking with me, good words, comfortable words. And the messenger who is speaking with me saith unto me, Call, saying, Thus said Jehovah of hosts, I have been zealous for Jerusalem, and for Zion with great zeal. And with great wrath I am wroth against the nations who are at ease. For I was a little wroth, and they assisted for evil. Therefore thus said Jehovah, I have turned to Jerusalem with mercies, my house is built in it, an affirmation of Jehovah of hosts, and a line is stretched over Jerusalem. Again call, saying, Thus said Jehovah of hosts, Again do my cities overflow from good, and Jehovah hath again comforted Zion, and he hath fixed again on Jerusalem. And I lift up mine eyes, and look, and lo, 4 horns. And I say unto the messenger who is speaking with me, What are these? And he saith unto me, These are the horns that have scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem. And Jehovah doth shew me 4 artisans. And I say, What are these coming in to do? And he speaketh, saying, These are the horns that have scattered Judah, so that no one hath lifted up his head. And these come in to trouble them, to cast down the horns of the nations, who are lifting up a horn against the land of Judah, to scatter it. Chapter 2. And I lift up mine eyes, and look, and lo, a man, and in his hand a measuring line. And I say, Whither art thou going? And he saith unto me, To measure Jerusalem, to see how much is its breadth, and how much its length. And lo, the messenger who is speaking with me is going out, and another messenger is going out to meet him. And he saith unto him, Run, speak unto this young man, saying, Unwalled villages inhabit doth Jerusalem, from the abundance of man and beast in her midst. And I am to her an affirmation of Jehovah, a wall of fire round about, and for honor I am in her midst. Ho, ho, and flee from the land of the north, an affirmation of Jehovah. For, as the four winds of the heavens, I have spread you abroad, an affirmation of Jehovah. Ho, Zion, be delivered who art dwelling with the daughter of Babylon. For thus said Jehovah of hosts, after honor he hath sent me unto the nations who are spoiling you. For he who is coming against you is coming against the daughter of his eye. For lo, I am waving my hand against them, and they have been a spoil to their servants. And ye have known that Jehovah of hosts hath sent me. Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for lo, I am coming, and have dwelt in thy midst, an affirmation of Jehovah. And joined have been many nations unto Jehovah in that day. And they have been to me for a people, and I have dwelt in thy midst. And thou hast known that Jehovah of hosts hath sent me unto thee. And Jehovah hath inherited Judah, his portion on the holy ground. And he hath fixed again on Jerusalem. Hush, all flesh, because of Jehovah, for he hath been roused up from his holy habitation. Chapter 3. And he sheweth me Joshua the high priest, standing before the messenger of Jehovah, and the adversary standing at his right hand, to be an adversary to him. And Jehovah saith unto the adversary, Jehovah doth push against thee, O adversary, yea, push against thee doth Jehovah, who is fixing on Jerusalem. Is not this a brand delivered from fire? And Joshua was clothed with filthy garments, and is standing before the messenger. And he answereth and speaketh unto those standing before him, saying, Turn aside the filthy garments from off him. And he saith unto him, See, I have caused thine iniquity to pass away from off thee, so as to clothe thee with costly apparel. He also said, Let them set a pure diadem on his head. And they set the pure diadem on his head, and clothe him with garments. And the messenger of Jehovah is standing. And the messenger of Jehovah doth protest to Joshua, saying, Thus said Jehovah of hosts, If in my ways thou dost walk, and if my charge thou dost keep, then thou also dost judge my house, and also thou dost keep my courts, and I have given to thee conductors among these standing by. Hear, I pray thee, Joshua the high priest, thou and thy companions sitting before thee, for men of type are they. For lo, I am bringing in my servant, a shoot. For lo, the stone that I put before Joshua, on one stone are 7 eyes. Lo, I am graving its graving, an affirmation of Jehovah of hosts. And I have removed the iniquity of that land in one day. In that day, an affirmation of Jehovah of hosts, ye do call, each unto his neighbor, unto the place of the vine, and unto the place of the fig tree. Chapter 4. And the messenger who is speaking with me doth turn back, and stir me up as one who is stirred up out of his sleep. And he saith unto me, What art thou seeing? And I say, I have looked, and lo, a candlestick of gold, all of it, and its bowl is on its top, and its 7 lamps are upon it, and twice 7 pipes are to the lights that are on its top. And 2 olive trees are by it, one on the right of the bowl, and one on its left. And I answer and speak unto the messenger who is speaking with me, saying, What are these, my lord? And the messenger who is speaking with me answereth, and saith unto me, Hast thou not known what these are? And I say, No, my lord. And he answereth and speaketh unto me, saying, This is a word of Jehovah unto Zerubbabel, saying, Not by a force, nor by power, but by my Spirit, said Jehovah of hosts. Who art thou, O great mountain, before Zerubbabel? For a plain. And he hath brought forth the top stone. Cries of grace, grace are to it. And there is a word of Jehovah to me, saying, Hands of Zerubbabel did found this house, and his hands do finish it. And thou hast known that Jehovah of hosts hath sent me unto you. For who trampled on the day of small things, they have rejoiced, and seen the tin weight in the hand of Zerubbabel. These 7 are the eyes of Jehovah. They are going to and fro in all the land. And I answer and say unto him, What are these 2 olive trees on the right of the candlestick, and on its left? And I answer a second time and say unto him, What are the 2 branches of the olive trees that, by means of the 2 golden pipes, are emptying out of themselves the oil? And he speaketh unto me, saying, Hast thou not known what these are? And I say, No, my Lord. And he saith, These are the 2 sons of the oil, who are standing by the Lord of the whole earth. Chapter 5. And I turn back, and lift up mine eyes, and look, and lo, a flying roll. And he saith unto me, What art thou seeing? And I say, I am seeing a flying roll, its length 20 by the cubit, and its breadth 10 by the cubit. And he saith unto me, This is the execration that is going forth over the face of all the land. For every one who is stealing on the one side, according to it, hath been declared innocent, and every one who hath sworn on the other side, according to it, hath been declared innocent. I have brought it out, an affirmation of Jehovah of hosts. And it hath come in unto the house of the thief, and unto the house of him who hath sworn in my name to a falsehood. And it hath remained in the midst of his house, and hath consumed it, both its wood and its stones. And the messenger who is speaking with me goeth forth, and saith unto me, Lift up, I pray thee, thine eyes, and see what is this that is coming forth. And I say, What is it? And he saith, This, the ephah that is coming forth. And he saith, This is their aspect in all the land. And lo, a cake of lead lifted up, and this is a woman sitting in the midst of the ephah. And he saith, This is the wicked woman. And he casteth her unto the midst of the ephah, and casteth the weight of lead on its mouth. And I lift up mine eyes, and see, and lo, 2 women are coming forth, and wind in their wings, and they have wings like wings of the stork, and they lift up the ephah between the earth and the heavens. And I say unto the messenger who is speaking with me, Whither are they causing the ephah to go? And he saith unto me, To build to it a house in the land of Shinar. And it hath been prepared, and hath been placed there on its base. Chapter 6. And I turn back, and lift up mine eyes, and look, and lo, 4 chariots are coming forth from between 2 of the mountains, and the mountains are mountains of brass. In the first chariot are red horses, and in the second chariot brown horses, and in the third chariot white horses, and in the fourth chariot strong gristled horses. And I answer and say unto the messenger who is speaking with me, What are these, my Lord? And the messenger answereth and saith unto me, These are 4 spirits of the heavens, coming forth from presenting themselves before the Lord of the whole earth. The brown horses that are therein are coming forth unto the land of the north, and the white have come forth unto their hinder part, and the gristled have come forth unto the land of the south. And the strong ones have come forth, and they seek to go to walk up and down in the earth. And he saith, Go, walk up and down in the earth. And they walk up and down in the earth. And he calleth me, and speaketh unto me, saying, See, those coming forth unto the land of the north have caused my spirit to rest in the land of the north. And there is a word of Jehovah unto me, saying, To take of the captivity who came from Babylon, from Heldai, from Tobijah, and from Jedaiah. And thou hast come in, thou, in that day, yea, thou hast come into the house of Josiah, son of Zephaniah, and thou hast taken silver and gold, and hast made a crown, and hast placed on the head of Joshua, son of Josedech, the high priest, and hast spoken unto him, saying, Thus spake Jehovah of hosts, saying, Lo, a man, a shoot is his name, and from his place he doth shoot up, and he hath built the temple of Jehovah. Yea, he doth build the temple of Jehovah, and he doth bear away honor, and he hath sat and ruled on his throne, and hath been a priest on his throne, and a council of peace is between both. And the crown is to Helem, and to Tobijah, and to Jedaiah, and to Hen, son of Zephaniah, for a memorial in the temple of Jehovah. And the far off come in, and they have built in the temple of Jehovah. And ye have known that Jehovah of hosts hath sent me unto you. Yea, it hath come to pass, if ye do certainly hearken to the voice of Jehovah your God. Chapter 7. And it cometh to pass, in the 4th year of Darius the king, hath a word of Jehovah been unto Zechariah, in the 4th of the 9th month, in Chislew. And Bethel sendeth Sherezer and Regem-melech and its men, to appease the face of Jehovah, speaking unto the priests who are at the house of Jehovah of hosts, and unto the prophets, saying, Do I weep in the 5th month, being separated, as I have done these so many years? And there is a word of Jehovah of hosts unto me, saying, Speak unto all the people of the land, and unto the priests, saying, When ye fasted with mourning in the 5th and in the 7th months, even these 70 years, did ye keep the fast to me? Me? And when ye eat, and when ye drink, is it not ye who are eating, and ye who are drinking? Are not these the words that Jehovah proclaimed by the hand of the former prophets, in Jerusalem's being inhabited, and in safety, and its cities round about it, and the south and the plain abiding? And there is a word of Jehovah unto Zechariah, saying, Thus spake Jehovah of hosts, saying, True judgment judge ye, and kindness and mercy do one with another. And widow and fatherless, sojourner and poor ye do not oppress, and the calamity of one another ye do not devise in your heart. And they refuse to attend, and they give a refractory shoulder, and their ears have made heavy against hearing, and their heart they have made adamant, against hearing the law and the words that Jehovah of hosts sent by his Spirit, by the hand of the former prophets. And there is great wrath from Jehovah of hosts. And it cometh to pass, as he called, and they have not hearkened, so do they call, and I do not hearken, said Jehovah of hosts. And I toss them on all the nations, that they have not known. The land hath been desolate behind them, of any passing by and turning back. And they set a desirable land for a desolation. Chapter 8. And there is a word of Jehovah of hosts, saying, Thus said Jehovah of hosts, I have been zealous for Zion with great zeal, with great heat I have been zealous for her. Thus said Jehovah, I have turned back unto Zion, and I have dwelt in the midst of Jerusalem. And Jerusalem hath been called the city of truth, and the mountain of Jehovah of hosts, the holy mountain. Thus said Jehovah of hosts, Again dwell do old men and old women in broad places of Jerusalem, and each his staff in his hand, because of abundance of days. And broad places of the city are full of boys and girls, playing in its broad places. Thus said Jehovah of hosts, Surely it is wonderful in the eyes of the remnant of this people in those days. Also in mine eyes it is wonderful, an affirmation of Jehovah of hosts. Thus said Jehovah of hosts, Lo, I am saving my people from the land of the rising, and from the land of the going in of the sun. And I have brought them in. They have dwelt in the midst of Jerusalem, and they have been to me for a people, and I am to them for God, in truth and in righteousness. Thus said Jehovah of hosts, Let your hands be strong, ye who are hearing in these days these words from the mouth of the prophets, that in the day the house of Jehovah of hosts hath been founded, the temple is to be built. For before those days there hath been no hiring of man, yea, a hiring of beasts there is none. And to him who is going out, and to him who is coming in, there is no peace because of the adversary. And I send all men, each against his neighbor. And now, not as in the former days, am I to the remnant of this people, an affirmation of Jehovah of hosts. Because of the sowing of peace, the vine doth give her fruit, and the earth doth give her increase, and the heavens do give their dew. And I have caused the remnant of this people to inherit all these. And it hath come to pass, As ye have been a reviling among nations, O house of Judah and house of Israel, so I save you. And ye have been a blessing. Do not fear, let your hands be strong. For thus said Jehovah of hosts, as I did purpose to do evil to you when your fathers made me wroth, said Jehovah of hosts, and I did not repent, so I have turned back. I have purposed in these days to do good with Jerusalem and with the house of Judah. Fear not. These are the things that ye do. Speak ye truth each with his neighbor. Truth and peaceful judgment judge in your gates. And each the evil of his neighbor ye do not devise in your heart. And a false oath ye do not love. For all these are things that I have hated. An affirmation of Jehovah. And there is a word of Jehovah of hosts unto me, saying, Thus said Jehovah of hosts, the fast of the 4th, and the fast of the 5th, and the fast of the 7th, and the fast of the 10th months, are to the house of Judah for joy and for rejoicing, and for pleasant appointed seasons, and the truth and the peace they have loved. Thus said Jehovah of hosts, Yet come, do peoples, and inhabitants of many cities, yea, gone have inhabitants of one to another, saying, We go diligently to appease the face of Jehovah, to seek Jehovah of hosts. I go, even I. Yea, come in have many peoples and mighty nations, to seek Jehovah of hosts in Jerusalem, and to appease the face of Jehovah. Thus said Jehovah of hosts, In those days take hold do 10 men of all languages of the nations, yea, they have taken hold on the skirt of a man, a Jew, saying, We go with you, for we heard God is with you. Chapter 9. The burden of a word of Jehovah against the land of Hadrach and Demasa, his place of rest, when to Jehovah is the eye of man, and of all the tribes of Israel. And also Hamath doth border thereon, Tyre and Zidon for very wise. And Tyre doth build a bulwark to herself, and doth heap silver as dust, and gold as mire of outplaces. Lo, the Lord doth dispossess her, and he hath smitten in the sea her force, and she with fire is consumed. See doth Ashkelon and fear, also Gaza, and she is exceedingly pained, also Ekron, for her expectation dried up, and perished half a king from Gaza. And Ashkelon doth not remain, and dwelt half a foreigner in Ashdod. And I have cut off the excellency of the Philistines, and turned aside his blood from his mouth, his abominations from between his teeth. And he hath remained, even he to our God, and he hath been as a leader in Judah, and Ekron as a Jebusite. And I have pitched for my house a camp, because of the passer through, and of the returner, and pass not through against them again doth an exactor, for now I have seen with my eyes. Rejoice exceedingly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Lo, thy king doth come to thee, righteous, and saved is he, afflicted, and riding on an ass, and on a colt, a son of she-asses. And I have cut off the chariot from Ephraim, and the horse from Jerusalem. Yea, cut off hath been the bow of battle. And he hath spoken peace to nations. And his rule is from sea unto sea, and from the river unto the ends of earth. Also thou, by the blood of thy covenant, I have sent thy prisoners out of the pit. There is no water in it. Turn back to a fenced place, ye prisoners of the hope. Even today a second announcer I restore to thee. For I have trodden for me Judah. A bow I have filled with Ephraim. And I have stirred up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Javan. And I have set thee as the sword of a hero. And Jehovah doth appear for them. And gone forth as lightning hath his arrow. And the Lord Jehovah with a trumpet bloweth. And he hath gone with whirlwinds of the south. Jehovah of hosts doth cover them over. And they consumed, and subdued slingstones. Yea, they have drunk. They have made a noise as wine, and they have been full as a bowl, as corners of an altar. And saved them hath Jehovah their God in that day, as a flock of his people. For stones of a crown are displaying themselves over his ground. For what his goodness, and what his beauty! Corn the young men, and new wine the virgins make fruitful. Chapter 10. They asked of Jehovah rain in a time of latter rain. Jehovah is making lightnings, and rain in showers he doth give to them, to each the herb in the field. Because the teraphim did speak iniquity, and the diviners have seen a falsehood, and dreams of the vanity they speak. With vanity they give comfort, therefore they have journeyed as a flock. They are afflicted, for there is no shepherd. Against the shepherds did mine anger burn, and against the he-goats I lay a charge. For inspected hath Jehovah of hosts his flock, the house of Judah, and set them as his beauteous horse in battle. From him is a cornerstone, from him a nail, from him a battle bow, from him goeth forth every exactor together. And they have been as heroes, treading in mire of outplaces in battle, and they have fought, for Jehovah is with them, and have put to shame riders of horses. And I have made mighty the house of Judah, and the house of Joseph I do save, and I have caused them to dwell, for I have loved them, and they have been as if I had not cast them off. For I am Jehovah their God, and I answer them. And Ephraim hath been as a hero, and rejoiced hath their heart as wine, and their sons see, and they have rejoiced, rejoiced doth their heart in Jehovah. I hissed for them, and I gather them, for I have redeemed them, and they have multiplied as they did multiply. And I sow them among peoples, and in far off places they remember me, and they have lived with their sons, and they have turned back. And I have brought them back from the land of Egypt, and from Ashur I do gather them, and unto the land of Gilead and Lebanon I do bring them in, and there is not found for them space. And he hath passed over through the sea, and hath pressed and smitten billows in the sea, and dried up have been all depths of a flood, and brought down hath been the excellency of Ashur, and the rod of Egypt doth turn aside. And I have made them mighty in Jehovah, and in his name they walk up and down, an affirmation of Jehovah. Chapter 11. Open, O Lebanon, thy doors, and fire doth devour among thy cedars. Howl, O fir, for fallen hath the cedar, for their honorable ones were destroyed. Howl, ye oaks of Bashan, for come down hath the fenced forest. A voice of the howling of the shepherds, for destroyed was their robe of honor. A voice of the roaring of young lions, for destroyed was the excellency of Jordan. Thus said Jehovah my God, feed the flock of the slaughter, whose buyers slay them, and are not guilty. And their sellers say, Blessed is Jehovah, and I am rich, and their shepherds have no pity on them. For I have pity no more on inhabitants of the land, an affirmation of Jehovah. And lo, I am causing man to come forth, each into the hand of his neighbor, and into the hand of his king, and they have beaten down the land, and I do not deliver out of their hand. And I feed the flock of slaughter, even you, ye afflicted of the flock. And I take to me 2 staves, the one I have called pleasantness, and the other I have called bands, and I feed the flock. And I cut off the 3 shepherds in 1 month, and my soul is grieved with them, and also their soul hath abhorred me. And I say, I do not feed you, the dying let die, and the cut off let be cut off, and the remaining ones let each eat the flesh of its neighbor. And I take my staff, pleasantness, and cut it asunder, to make void my covenant that I had made with all the peoples. And it is broken in that day. And know well do the afflicted of the flock who are observing me, that it is a word of Jehovah. And I say unto them, if good in your eyes, give my hire, and if not, forbear. And they weigh out my hire, 30 silverlings. And Jehovah saith unto me, cast it unto the potter, the goodly price that I have been prized at by them. And I take the 30 silverlings, and cast them to the house of Jehovah, unto the potter. And I cut asunder my 2nd staff, bands, to break the unity between Judah and Israel. And Jehovah saith unto me, Again take to thee the instrument of a foolish shepherd. For lo, I am raising up a shepherd in the land. The cut off he doth not inspect, the shaken off he doth not seek, and the broken he doth not heal. The standing he doth not sustain, and the flesh of the fat he doth eat, and their hoofs he doth break off. Woe to the worthless shepherd, forsaking the flock! A sword is on his arm, and on his right eye. His arm is utterly dried up, and his right eye is very dim. Chapter 12. The burden of a word of Jehovah on Israel. An affirmation of Jehovah, stretching out heaven and founding earth, and forming the spirit of man in his midst. Lo, I am making Jerusalem a cup of reeling to all the peoples round about, and also against Judah it is, in the siege against Jerusalem. And it hath come to pass in that day, I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone to all the peoples. All loading it are completely pressed down, and gathered against it have been all nations of the earth. In that day, an affirmation of Jehovah, I do smite every horse with astonishment, and its rider with madness. And on the house of Judah I open my eyes, and every horse of the peoples I smite with blindness. And leaders of Judah have said in their heart, Strength to me are the inhabitants of Jerusalem, in Jehovah of hosts their God. In that day I make the leaders of Judah as a hearth of fire among trees, and as a torch of fire in a sheaf, and they have consumed on the right and on the left all the peoples round about. And Jerusalem hath inhabited again her place in Jerusalem. And saved hath Jehovah the tents of Judah first, so that become not great against Judah doth the beauty of the house of David, and the beauty of the inhabitant of Jerusalem. In that day cover over doth Jehovah the inhabitant of Jerusalem, and the stumbling among them hath been in that day as David, and the house of David as God, as a messenger of Jehovah before them. And it hath come to pass in that day, I seek to destroy all the nations who are coming in against Jerusalem. And I have poured on the house of David, and on the inhabitant of Jerusalem, a spirit of grace and supplications. And they have looked unto me whom they pierced, and they have mourned over it, like a mourning over the only one. And they have been in bitterness for it, like a bitterness over the firstborn. In that day great is the mourning of Jerusalem, as the mourning of Hadad-rimmon in the valley of Megiddon. And mourn hath the land, every family apart, the family of the house of David apart, and their women apart, the family of the house of Nathan apart, and their women apart, the family of the house of Levi apart, and their women apart, the family of Shimei apart, and their women apart, all the families that are left, every family apart, and their women apart. Chapter 13. In that day there is a fountain opened to the house of David, and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, for sin and for impurity. And it hath come to pass in that day, an affirmation of Jehovah of hosts, I cut off the names of the idols from the land, and they are not remembered any more. And also the prophets and the spirit of uncleanness I cause to pass away from the land. And it hath been, when one prophesieth again, that said unto him hath his father and his mother, his parents, Thou dost not live, for falsehood thou hast spoken in the name of Jehovah. And pierced him through have his father and his mother, his parents, in his prophesying. And it hath come to pass in that day, ashamed are the prophets, each of his vision, in his prophesying, and they put not on a hairy robe to deceive. And one hath said, I am not a prophet, a man, a tiller of ground I am, for ground is my possession from my youth. And one hath said unto him, What are these wounds in thy hands? And he hath said, Because I was smitten at home by my lovers. Sword, awake against my shepherd, and against a hero, my fellow, an affirmation of Jehovah of hosts. Smite the shepherd, and scattered is the flock. And I have put back my hand on the little ones. And it hath come to pass in all the land, an affirmation of Jehovah, 2 parts in it are cut off, they expire, and the third is left in it. And I have brought the third into fire, and refined them like a refining of silver. and have tried them like a trying of gold. It doth call in my name, and I answer it. I have said, My people it is, and it saith, Jehovah is my God. Chapter 14. Lo, a day hath come to Jehovah, and divided hath been thy spoil in thy midst. And I have gathered all the nations unto Jerusalem to battle, and captured hath been the city, and spoiled have been the houses, and the women are lain with. Gone forth hath half the city in a removal, and the remnant of the people are not cut off from the city. And gone forth hath Jehovah, and he hath fought against those nations, as in the day of his fighting, in a day of conflict. And stood have his feet in that day, on the Mount of Olives, that is before Jerusalem eastward. And cleft hath been the Mount of Olives at its midst, to the east, and to the west a very great valley. And removed hath the half of the mount towards the north, and its half towards the south. And ye have fled to the valley of my mountains, for joined doth the valley of the mountains to Azal. And ye have fled as ye fled before the shaking, in the days of Uzziah king of Judah. And come in hath Jehovah my God, all holy ones are with thee. And it hath come to pass in that day, the precious light is not, it is dense darkness. And there hath been one day, it is known to Jehovah, not day nor night. And it hath been at evening time, there is light. And it hath come to pass in that day, Go forth to living waters from Jerusalem, half of them unto the eastern sea, and half of them unto the western sea. In summer and in winter it is. And Jehovah hath become king over all the land. In that day there is one Jehovah, and his name one. Changed is all the land as a plain, from Gebo to Rimmon, south of Jerusalem. And she hath been high, and hath dwelt in her place, even from the gate of Benjamin to the place of the first gate, unto the front gate, and from the tower of Hananeel unto the wine vats of the king. And they have dwelt in her, and destruction is no more, and Jerusalem hath dwelt confidently. And this is the plague with which Jehovah doth plague all the peoples who have warred against Jerusalem. He hath consumed away its flesh, and it is standing on its feet, and its eyes are consumed in their holes, and its tongue is consumed in their mouth. And it hath come to pass in that day, a great destruction from Jehovah is among them, and they have seized each the hand of his neighbor, and gone up half his hand against the hand of his neighbor. And also Judah is fought with in Jerusalem, and gathered hath been the force of all the nations round about, gold and silver and apparel in great abundance. And so is the plague of the horse, of the mule, of the camel, and of the ass, and of all the cattle that are in these camps, as this plague. And it hath come to pass, every one who hath been left of all the nations, who are coming in against Jerusalem, they have also gone up from year to year, to bow themselves to the King, Jehovah of hosts, and to celebrate the feast of the booths. And it hath come to pass, that he who doth not go up of the families of the land unto Jerusalem, to bow himself to the King, Jehovah of hosts, even on them there is no shower. And if the family of Egypt go not up, nor come in, then not on them is the plague with which Jehovah doth plague the nations that go not up to celebrate the feast of booths. This is the punishment of the sin of Egypt, and the punishment of the sin of all the nations that go not up to celebrate the feast of booths. In that day there is on bells of the horse, Holy to Jehovah, and the pots in the house of Jehovah have been as bowls before the altar. And every pot in Jerusalem and in Judah have been holy to Jehovah of hosts. And all those sacrificing have come in, and have taken of them, and boiled in them. And there is no merchant any more in the house of Jehovah of hosts in that day. The end of the book of Zechariah. The book of Malachi, chapter 1. The burden of a word of Jehovah unto Israel by the hand of Malachi. I have loved you, said Jehovah, and ye have said, In what hast thou loved us? Is not Esau Jacob's brother? An affirmation of Jehovah. And I love Jacob, and Esau I have hated. And I make his mountains a desolation, and his inheritance for dragons of a wilderness. Because Edom saith, We have been made poor, and we turn back, and we build the wastes. Thus said Jehovah of hosts, They do build, and I do destroy. And men have called to them, O region of wickedness, O people whom Jehovah defied to the age. And your eyes do see, and ye say, Magnified is Jehovah beyond the border of Israel. A son honoureth a father, and a servant his master. And if I am a father, where is mine honour? And if I am a master, where is my fear? Said Jehovah of hosts to you, O priests, despising my name. And ye have said, In what have we despised thy name? Ye are bringing nigh on mine altar polluted bread. And ye have said, In what have we polluted thee? In your saying, The table of Jehovah, it is despicable. And when ye bring nigh the blind for sacrifice, there is no evil. And when ye bring nigh the lame and sick, there is no evil. Bring it near, I pray thee, to thy governor. Doth he accept thee, or doth he lift up thy face? Said Jehovah of hosts. And now appease, I pray thee, the face of God, and he doth favour us. From your own hand hath this been. Doth he accept of you appearances? Said Jehovah of hosts. Who is even among you, and he shutteth the two-leaved doors? Yea, ye do not kindle mine altar for naught. I have no pleasure in you, said Jehovah of hosts, and a present I do not accept of your hand. For from the rising of the sun to its going in, great is my name among nations, and in every place perfume is brought nigh to my name, and a pure present, for great is my name among nations, said Jehovah of hosts. And ye are polluting it in your saying, The table of Jehovah, it is polluted. As to its fruit, despicable is its food. And ye have said, Lo, what a weariness! And ye have puffed at it, said Jehovah of hosts. And ye have brought in plunder, and the lame and the sick, and ye have brought in the present. Do I accept it from your hand? Said Jehovah. And cursed is a deceiver, who hath in his drove a male, and is vowing, and is sacrificing a marred thing to the Lord. For a great king am I, said Jehovah of hosts, and my name is revered among nations. Chapter 2. And now to you is this charge, O priests, if ye hearken not, and if ye lay it not to heart, to give honour to my name, said Jehovah of hosts. I have sent against you the curse, and I have cursed your blessings. Yea, I have also cursed it, because ye are not laying it to heart. Lo, I am pushing away before you the seed, and have scattered dung before your faces, dung of your festivals, and it hath taken you away with it. And ye have known that I have sent unto you this charge, for my covenant being with Levi, said Jehovah of hosts. My covenant hath been with him of life and of peace, and I make them to him a fear, and he doth fear me, and because of my name he hath been affrighted. The law of truth hath been in his mouth, and perverseness hath not been found in his lips. In peace and in uprightness he walked with me, and many he brought back from iniquity. For the lips of a priest preserve knowledge, and law they do seek from his mouth. For a messenger of Jehovah of hosts he is. And ye have turned from the way, ye have caused many to stumble in the law, ye have corrupted the covenant of Levi, said Jehovah of hosts. And I also, I have made you despised and low before all the people, because ye are not keeping my ways, and are accepting persons in the law. Have we not all one Father? Hath not our God prepared us? Wherefore do we deal treacherously, each against his brother, to pollute the covenant of our fathers? Dealt treacherously hath Judah, an abomination hath been done in Israel and in Jerusalem. For polluted hath Judah the holy thing of Jehovah that he hath loved, and hath married the daughter of a strange god. Cut off doth Jehovah the man who doth it, tempter and tempted, from the tents of Jacob, even he who is bringing nigh a present to Jehovah of hosts. And this a second time ye do, covering with tears the altar of Jehovah, with weeping and groaning, because there is no more turning unto the present, or receiving of a pleasing thing from your hand. And ye have said, Wherefore? Because Jehovah hath testified between thee and the wife of thy youth, that thou hast dealt treacherously against her, and she thy companion, and thy covenant wife. And he did not make one holy, and he hath the remnant of the Spirit. And what is the one alone? He is seeking a godly seed. And ye have been watchful over your spirit, and with the wife of thy youth none doth deal treacherously. For I hate sending away, said Jehovah, God of Israel, and he who hath covered violence with his clothing, said Jehovah of hosts. And ye have been watchful over your spirit, and ye do not deal treacherously. Ye have wearied Jehovah with your words, and ye have said, In what have we wearied him? In your saying, Every evildoer is good in the eyes of Jehovah, and in them he is delighting. Or, Where is the God of judgment? Chapter 3. Lo, I am sending my messenger, and he hath prepared a way before me. And suddenly, come in unto his temple doth the Lord whom ye are seeking, even the messenger of the covenant, whom ye are desiring. Lo, he is coming, said Jehovah of hosts. And who is bearing the day of his coming? And who is standing in his appearing? For he is as fire of a refiner, and as soap of a fuller. And he hath sat, a refiner and purifier of silver. And he hath purified the sons of Levi, and hath refined them as gold and as silver. And they have been to Jehovah bringing nigh a present in righteousness. And sweet to Jehovah hath been the present of Judah and Jerusalem, as in days of old, and as in former years. And I have drawn near to you for judgment, and I have been a witness, making haste against sorcerers, and against adulterers, and against swearers to a falsehood, and against oppressors of the hire of an hireling, of a widow, and of a fatherless one, and those turning aside a sojourner, and who fear me not, said Jehovah of hosts. For I am Jehovah, I have not changed, and ye, the sons of Jacob, ye have not been consumed. Even from the days of your fathers ye have turned aside from my statutes, and ye have not taken heed. Turn back unto me, and I turn back to you, said Jehovah of hosts. And ye have said, In what do we turn back? Doth man deceive God? But ye are deceiving me, and ye have said, In what have we deceived thee? The tithe and the heave offering. With a curse ye are cursed, and me ye are deceiving, this nation, all of it. Bring in all the tithe unto the treasure house, and there is food in my house. When ye have tried me, now with this, said Jehovah of hosts, do I not open to you the windows of heaven? Yea, I have emptied on you a blessing till there is no space. And I have pushed for you against the consumer, and he doth not destroy to you the fruit of the ground, nor miscarry to you doth the vine in the field, said Jehovah of hosts. And declared you happy have all the nations, for ye are a delightful land, said Jehovah of hosts. Hard against me have been your words, said Jehovah. And ye have said, What have we spoken against thee? Ye have said, A vain thing to serve God. And what gain when we kept his charge, and when we have gone in black, because of Jehovah of hosts? And now we are declaring the proud happy. Yea, built up have been those doing wickedness. Yea, they have tempted God, and escape. Then have those fearing Jehovah spoken one to another, and Jehovah doth attend and hear. And written is a book of memorial before him, of those fearing Jehovah, and of those esteeming his name. And they have been to me, said Jehovah of hosts, in the day that I am appointing, a peculiar treasure, and I have had pity on them, as one hath pity on his son who is serving him. And ye have turned back and considered, between the righteous and the wicked, between the servant of God and him who is not his servant. Chapter 4. For lo, the day hath come, burning as a furnace, and all the proud and every wicked doer have been stubble. And burnt them hath the day that came, said Jehovah of hosts, that there is not left to them root or branch. And risen to you, ye who fear my name, hath the Son of Righteousness, and healing in its wings. And ye have gone forth, and have increased as calves of a stall. And ye have trodden down the wicked, for they are ashes under the soles of your feet, in the day that I am appointing, said Jehovah of hosts. Remember ye the law of Moses my servant, that I did command him in Horeb, for all Israel, statutes and judgments. Lo, I am sending to you Elijah the prophet, before the coming of the day of Jehovah, the great and the fearful. And he hath turned back the heart of fathers to sons, and the heart of sons to their fathers, before I come and have utterly smitten the land. The end of the book of Malachi, and the end of the books of Zechariah and Malachi, from the Young's Literal Translation of the Bible. Recording by Mark Penfold.